The Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Eytan Show.
Middays with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander.
Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
And live, of course, on a Friday midday at the Parks Casino Sportsbook, the brand new, beautiful sportsbook will be here for the next 2 hours. Each and every Friday are home. And Harry, you can't get enough of the big screen, the activity, people walking in and out, the kiosks underway, and people waiting in line. You see the big board behind where all the people are willing and able to help you as well. Place a wager if you're needing help or if you're not familiar with what's necessarily going on with the kiosks, the beautiful and comfortable seats as well that line this place, and of course the wraparound technology that they have. It's better than any book in the country. It's like Times Square here for sports with the ticker below and all of the TV screens. In fact, they can go up to 32 small screens, and those small screens are still huge in your house. But this place is gigantic, so we'll be here for the next 2 hours as we are each and every Friday. We've got new mentions as well as far as the new promo code. You have that. New ways in which people can take advantage of risk-free bets, so we'll get into that as well. But, you know, we did come off a football game last night.
We did?
Yeah, well, Clemson covered.
Yeah, they did. But I didn't get to watch 1 minute of it. And I purposely did not watch 1 minute of the Eagles-Jets debacle. I mean, what was the final there? 6-0, and the Jets kicker missed a few kicks. I mean, Thorson stinks.
Oh, okay, if you want to have a conversation about last night, there's the bigger picture, which is a wasted fifth-round pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a quarterback.
No doubt about
it. A
it.
position that they did not need to draft in the fifth round, nor will use at any point in the future, because Nate Sudfeld with 2 broken wrists.
He's better than Thorson.
Yes. So your boy, Cody Thorson.
Cody Thorson? You're talking Cody Kessler. He stinks, too. He's going to get cut, and so's Clayton Thorson.
It's going to be Sudfeld, McCown, and
Wentz.
McNown, sorry. And Wentz. That's it.
Right.
There was no need to waste a draft pick on a fifth-rounder in this Thorson kid. That's what the takeaway is. Now, there are bigger things as well, because now, thank God, we can actually look at the season.
Yes, I mean, tomorrow by 4 o'clock, they've got to narrow
Cut
the
day,
roster
yeah.
down to 53.
And listen, I got to be honest with you. Deshaun Hall played his way onto this roster.
He has to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Honestly, though,
he's been a monster in the whole preseason. I mean,
he has
for
been.
what it's worth. I know it's preseason, but the guy has really excelled.
And Wendell Smallwood might have fumbled away, no pun intended, his chances of the roster now moving forward.
Yeah, I think he's gone. And Adams is gone.
Here's the reality, though, and I may sneeze in the middle of this, so just bear with me. But the reality is, at this point, I've moved on. Cut day.
To what?
Cut day is still the preseason. Anybody who makes or does not make it is going to be a good story, but is not going to be somebody that's going to be inconsequential if they didn't make this team, is going to be the reason why they don't move on and make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the storyline is right now. It's not even Carson Wentz and the offensive line not playing a second of football together at all in the preseason. Even Tom Brady and others had this opportunity.
It's going on throughout the league.
Well, not everybody, though.
No, but I mean, there's a lot of teams that are in similar situations.
Okay, but that doesn't – just because you're failing and 15 other people in the class are failing as well doesn't mean that you don't have to pick your grade up. It doesn't mean that you're not going to, fail the next test yourself.
You're right.
The point of it is that while the Skins or other teams may be doing the same thing, the reality is that the Eagles – are going to have a preseason with the starters for most likely 2 or 3 weeks.
And that's really what the month of September has become over the last few seasons, is sloppy football, teams sort of getting used to one another again as far as the starting units go. And you're right. They don't waste their time, playing in the games that don't matter. So then the games that do matter almost become like preseason games, except the result counts. That's really what it is. And I guarantee you that the game against the Redskins on both sides will probably be pretty sloppy.
Yeah, and I think the benefit there is that the Eagles are not parading out a rookie quarterback with suspect offensive linemen and above-average skill guys overall.
Well, yeah, you're going up against Case Keenum in that first game.
Yes, the reality is that the Skins' offense is atrocious more often than not. But it doesn't mean that everything will look crisp and be well executed. Just because the Skins' defense is not the Baltimore Ravens 2000, the Chicago Bears 85, it doesn't mean that somebody is going to be running the right route or wrong route. Like, you run the wrong route, there's bad timing. A guy could be wide open, you can miss him.
Right,
We've seen this before.
Sure.
Or a pick, exactly right. But here's the beauty of it. This isn't even the big story. This isn't even the biggest story. You want to talk about all these ridiculous sports radio questions about why there's no lack of buzz or all this other nonsensical crap that's shoved down people's throat with a shovel. The reality is that it's not a lack of buzz, Harry. It's a lack of discussion. There's one guy who did not have a tremendous season last year that has to have a better season than he did last year, reminiscent of what happened 2 years ago.
Talking about number 11.
No, I'm talking about the number 11 of the defense. I'm talking about the fact that Fletcher Cox is dealing with a pretty big injury where all of a sudden he's MIA. This guy went from being active on the field, practicing week 1 of camp and the preseason, to now being suspect for the first couple of weeks of the season.
Well, he's going to play.
I don't think he's going to play week 1.
Who says?
The latest on the injury is I don't think he's going to play week 1.
The latest on the injury is you don't think, or the latest on the injury is he's not going to play?
No, the latest on what we're seeing from, like, Deshaun Jackson, okay?
Well, he's got the broken finger. He's going to play.
Correct. The foot with Cox.
Right.
He's not taking part in any team or full team
It's been
drills.
an underdeveloped story throughout the month of August.
And Peterson is very confident. But everything going, like, you have to understand, if you just look or listen to what Doug Peterson is saying, Fletcher Cox is playing week 1.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you look at what's happening in practice, he does not practice or appear to be like a guy who is healthy and set to go for week 1.
Well, I mean,
his activity is shrinking by the day.
Does he really need that activity at this point? A veteran star player at that position.
Everybody's practicing, though, that's ready to go. Like Jalen Mills out, you know that.
Well, he's on the PUP list.
That's what I'm saying. Like, all these other guys are at the very least doing 11-on-11, stuff like that. Deshaun Jackson, you understand that it's some sort of a finger injury, but that's current.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
But even still, like, okay, I'll give it a perfect example. Even Lane Johnson not taking part in team drills, right? He's been sidelined for 2 weeks, but he did take part in position drills this week at practice and indicated he's close to it. You haven't even gotten that from Fletcher Cox.
No, Fletcher Cox has done individual work. That's basically all he's done.
But that's been My point of it, though, is that you're barely getting that, if you're getting that at all, and it's gone in the opposite direction as Lane Johnson, which is sidelined but at least moving towards individual drills, where Fletcher Cox comes into camp like he's healthy, and then all of a sudden this foot injury is an issue, and his role and activity in I'm not talking about games, practice, shrinking.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the linebacker situation.
Why? They don't play linebackers. They play 2 linebackers a game.
I know, but the starting 2 are probably not. Well, I know Camus not going to play, and Bradham too is still banged up. I don't need Nate Jerry in there on week 1.
Right?
Okay.
Listen, it's not about what you need; it's about what you can get.
Yeah, right.
I don't mean to butcher the Rolling Stones line, but at this point, you're not getting squat as far as what you need.
Right.
You're going to get a healthy dose of Nate Jerry in week 1.
That worries me. That I'm worried about.
The good thing is that
Fletcher Cox at 80%.
No,
whatever it is.
Fletcher
I'm
Cox
still good.
I'm telling you, he's not playing.
You're breaking this news.
I don't break news.
We haven't been to one
We don't
practice.
break news. That's my point, is we don't break
Doug
news.
Peterson.
We interpret what we get.
And I'm interpreting Doug Peterson as being confident that he's going to play.
No, you take somebody's word now on the surface?
Yes.
You don't look
I'd rather take his word than yours.
Okay, I'm not saying my eye. I'm reading and interpreting and taking from what I have and you have from the people who are watching it. Mike Kay's going to be down there at 1 o'clock.
He's going to join us at 1 o'clock.
And I'm going to lead off saying Fletcher Cox is not playing week 1, and I'm going to hear his response to it. Okay?
I can't wait for
this
that.
This is not me waking up saying, hey, we don't have any buzz. Let's get some text, 609-403-0973.
Well, I want to know if
this is legit taking information from what we see.
I want to know if the people are as concerned as you are about Week 1 with Fletcher
He's
Cox.
not playing.
Because I'm not.
Okay. You're not concerned because you have a healthy belief that he's out there.
Yes, I'm taking the coach at his word.
Okay.
That's all I can do because I'm not down there on a daily basis examining him and watching him go through his drills to say, you know what, he doesn't look quite right. I don't think he can play. If I was down there, then maybe I could say something like that.
Did you take Chip Kelly at his word when he said that they were going to beat Cincinnati and that's why you took him yesterday on the show?
No, I did not.
Jesus.
I thought their quarterback, the young quarterback, was better than what he was. He was awful last night. Okay, that was one loss. Yeah, Clemson did cover.
It's brutal though, the record that Chip has. How many people are you going to take at face value here?
Hey, sometimes we got a guy who advertises.
Is that
on
right?
this show.
I'm sorry, sir. Time after
time to watch us, huh?
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Look
nice
at that
piece there. What's that golf course? What's that?
Atlantic
City Country Club. Nice.
See?
Okay.
That's beautiful. He's
Nice.
actually been on this, see?
There you go. There
Okay.
you go.
Nice.
All right. Now, listen. Why would you not take Doug Peterson's word at this point until you hear something otherwise?
I'm seeing what people are reporting down there. How often have you seen Doug Peterson got contentious with the media? He was going after McLean, Kempsky. Remember all this stuff that was going on last year?
That was last year.
Okay, but the point of it is that you live in a city. How many times has it been where somebody on a coaching staff has said one thing and everybody has just accepted it when what the coach is saying is looking opposite to what's happening on the practice field or regular field?
Okay, well,
I don't understand
look,
that.
we have issues with the Sixers with this kind of stuff with their medical teams, and we've gone through a litany of injured players, redshirt seasons, and all this stuff to where you just look at anything that comes out from that organization with a jaundiced eye when it comes to injuries because of the history. With the Eagles, I don't have that same feeling when it comes to them. I think Doug Peterson's a pretty straight shooting guy. You know what I mean? And I just think that, until he tells me that, hey, Fletcher had a setback or whatever with his foot, I'm thinking he's going to be able to play against the Redskins. Because that's what he's telling me.
That's what Doug Peterson's telling you.
Yes.
No, I
think Doug Peterson has got a reservoir of credibility. At least he does with me.
Listen, man.
Why not with you?
It's not about Doug Peterson's credibility. See, I'm not looking at this saying Doug Peterson is lying. I'm saying that Doug Peterson is not pressed to make a gun-to-the-head decision right now about whether Fletcher Cox is playing. So he could indicate all he wants that Fletcher Cox
We
is
still
out
got
there.
9 days until the first game.
I mean, I understand
You realize that.
I do understand that. This is more like Gabe Kapler coming out after a night in which they get pounded in the rear, in face and ear and everywhere else, in the foot and just all over the place, and beat up black and blue like Joe Pesci in Casino, getting dumped into that hole.
That
there.
was a horrible beating.
A horrible
that he
beating.
took.
Right. That's what I'm saying, like pounded everywhere. And Gabe Kapler coming out and saying, there were a lot of great things, a lot of positive things. It doesn't mean he's lying. It just means that he's choosing to focus on something. But Doug Peterson has maintained, and I'm not saying that Doug Peterson is misleading or lying or anything like that. I'm just saying when you look at the lack of activity and shrinking role out there for Fletcher Cox, it is a major concern about week 1. And it begs the question about how hurt is he really? Listen, this is not missing OTAs or that nonsense.
No.
Any of that crap. The only reason why we're even having a conversation is because Fletcher is so important and so dominant on that key position in the defensive line. So, yes, I think it's a concern.
Well, is that the only concern you have? Because we still got 9 days until the game.
Well,
I don't think the linebacking situation is going to get any better between now and the 9 days because I know one guy's out for a couple more weeks.
Right.
At the minimum.
Right.
Okay?
So get used to Nate Jerry. You just don't like Nate Jerry.
Well, no, I don't have a confidence in Nate Jerry.
But that's the thing. It's not like the Eagles. Okay, but here's another thing. Is it not hypocritical for you to come out and say, I don't have any confidence in Nate Jerry, yet the team clearly does because Gary.
Yeah, because
Nate Gary.
He
you ever heard
probably-
Gary Indiana? Nate
He probably
Gary.
wouldn't have made the team if he wasn't a draft pick. They probably would have taken some of these other guys
Well-
that were competing at the position. But it's just sort of like the Mac Hollins situation. He was a draft pick, and they're going to give him every chance to succeed.
I don't understand, man. It's not any different. It really is, or not much different. They tell me that Fletcher Cox won't be ready. He's not doing much, if anything. You see Nate Jerry out there. This is like GIF or GIF. You see Nate out there.
You just call him Nate.
You see him out there.
Nebraska Nate. That's
it's like
where
Big
he went.
V
Yeah.
at this point. You see him out there.
Halapulavati Vaitai is his name.
Not
okay?
him. I'm saying.
All right.
I'm saying Nate. You see him out there.
Can you say the other guy's name?
Jerry?
No.
Halapulavati
Vaitai.
Yeah, Halapulavati Vaitai.
Very good.
Yeah. I
Nice
used to do
job.
updates with
Say that
name.
3 times.
No. Will he appear? You say Candyman 3 times, the guy comes in the mirror and kills you.
That was a bad movie.
Terrible
wasn't it?
movie.
Yeah,
But
awful.
there was an iconic, was Lee on it? Jeez, who was the Candyman? I forget.
I have no idea.
All right, so
Stupid movie.
here's the thing.
Look, there's nothing going on right now, so you were trying to make a
No.
mountain out of a molehill
I'm just
here
no, what do you
with
mean?
Fletcher Cox.
It's not at all. It's if you wanted to look at something that has not been discussed, if you want to look at a storyline that has been swept under the rug, and I don't know why it hasn't been received, and I'm not demanding. Listen, I'm not pounding my fist to the table right here at Parks Sportsbook at Parks Casino, demanding that people around me in some chant say, we want Cox, and more Fletcher, and calling for some sort of public statement from Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson, some joint statement. I'm not calling for any of that, Harry. I'm just saying, me personally, it's a storyline that has not been discussed, and there is a reality right now in front of us that his activity is dwindling, if not absent, dormant. And yet Lane Johnson on the opposite end is at least doing something. That's all.
Okay. All right. I'm not worried.
But you're worried about the linebackers.
Well, because I know that a certain player is not returning for several more weeks. One of these guys is down for a couple of weeks. That hasn't been determined. I don't understand why you can't get the difference. And I don't have great confidence in the guys that they're maintaining on the roster behind them.
We're going to get to the text board here in a second. 609-403-0973. At Harry Mays to you at Shander
There's
Show.
nothing working in here.
Well, here's what I do love is the fact that we actually have a nice natural disagreement. So people can weigh in on that on both platforms. As we're live at Parks Casino, we'll tell you all about the risk-free bet, $250, new promo code, so make sure you're listening and you get all that information down. But I'm told down the line here by Josh that Pete Thompson is in the house.
Yes.
Wearing a Nebraska Cornhusker shirt saying it's Nate Gary.
Right, he's correcting you. I said Gary first, and you said, no, Jerry.
Well, is Pete Thompson in the house,
Yeah,
or is
he
he
is
just
in-
walking around the building? Is he in studio, Josh?
Why is he wearing a Nebraska shirt?
We need to find out.
A
He went to
decade.
Temple.
A decade. I know I went to Temple. Temple football sucked. You know that, Harry.
But he
Come on,
worked
man.
in Lincoln, did he not?
No. Let's back up. Scotts Bluff, where the men are men and the women are too.
Scott's Bluff.
Is that actually in Nebraska proper, or is that in another state and they're just infringing?
I'm glad you asked. It's 35 miles from the Wyoming border, and it is right out of Dances with Wolves. I mean, I was
yes.
fooled. I thought because it was on the USA Today map, I'm like, hey, it's a real town.
Is this
Woofda.
like right off Route 80, Interstate 80?
It is it's like an hour north of I-80 first of all, it's mountain time zone. So the rest of the state is in central, but that's in mountain because you're that far out. People are like, oh,
Man.
you're not that far from Denver. Yeah, 3.5 hours. I had a buddy move out. He became a friend, but he came to work at the other TV station and said to me, where's the nearest synagogue? And I said, Denver?
Dude,
I mean,
you got to get in a
good
plane.
luck.
You got to get to an airport. to get to
Listen,
that.
as a Jew whose family's from Queens, New York, I said good luck.
Right, his mom set up menorah candles. I didn't know what those were, but
You
she
like
was
those in a
looking.
basement. My God.
That's where we lived. That was our address. We were roommates. When does the ABC guy and the CBS guy live in the same apartment? But it was $86 a month.
$86 a month. Now, somebody told you, hey, you want to be a big TV star.
Now, when
you
was
have to
this?
move to Scotts Bluff, right?
This was 1994. Two
Wow.
things happened. Number one, I went to the Phillies before I left because I was at a Phillies game, and I said to the late, great Richie Ashburn, hey, Whitey, I got a job in your old state. Oh, Peter, congratulations. Where are you going? I said, Scotts Bluff. And he looked at me like, somebody was sick or ill and said, oh, that's God's country. Dude, he was from a place with one stoplight. Like, what's he talking about?
So was I.
Yeah.
Now they got two.
Right.
My hometown.
So that should have been a warning, number one. And then number two, I get out there and nobody told me. I spent my entire life watching There Goes That Action News Van again. And I never thought to ask, how many news vehicles do you have? So I get out there and the news director's like, where's your car? And I'm like, well, I just flew out in a hurry to get out here. He's like, you're going to have to rent a car because, you need your car to drive around and cover the stories. What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Harry, you wouldn't be able to do this job if you had to walk around and hold your microphone like a little PA system.
No, there's no way.
No, not at all.
I couldn't handle Scotts Bluff.
No.
No way.
Oh, I know where it is now. And every so often it'll pop up on what was that show? Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland where he was the president.
I heard that was good.
There was some threat, and they're like, yeah, there's a guy on a farm in Scotts Bluff. And I shot up in bed like, oh, my God, somebody knows where that is. I mean, it's not as remote anymore as it used to be.
I've got two questions for you, PT. Of course, the great Pete Thompson has infiltrated the program, and we're happy to have him, of course.
Sure.
Actually, three questions, and we
got
don't.
three questions.
I do 3 questions.
Hey, it's Pete Thompson.
There we go. That's the first question for you. Have you ever been on a radio show where a drop of you has been playing and might even play throughout your time on the radio show? I imagine Josh is going to have that ready to go probably when you speak, even answer this question.
I have not. This thing is taken off like wildfire. I'll cross people in the street, and they'll be like, hey, it's Pete Thompson. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
There you go.
You just kind of it's great. Look, thanks, guys, for getting my name out there over and over and over again. I appreciate that. And people are asking me, like, it used to be from the decade of television, they'd recognize my face, but now they'll hear me talking, and then they'll turn around, like I was on the Ocean City Boardwalk. The guy turned around and said, oh, my God, are you the PT? Yeah. Hey, it's Pete Thompson. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's amazing.
What was number two?
Number two is, why are you wearing the Nate Gary shirt?
Whoa, Miss Lippy. I'm not wearing a Nate Gary shirt. I'm wearing a Nebraska Husker shirt. And let me tell you something. To a guy,
you were yelling it's Nate Gary.
Yes,
with
I was
the
just
Nebraska
saying. Right.
corner. Okay, well,
Right.
Josh,
he
there was
misinterpreted the facts a little.
breakdown.
But here's the deal, okay? Eytan, think about this. When you cover Temple football your entire, college career, WRTI, Temple News, Temple's terrible. The one year they couldn't even get the Pullman Weed Eater Bowl. I mean, they were the most improved team in the country.
I think Harry was undergrad that
They
year.
still stunk, right? I mean, they were good, but they weren't good. They had no respect, like Rodney Dangerfield. So ultimately, I move out to a place that then the minute I get there, they won a national championship in 94.
Right.
They were
So
even
you
better in 95.
on the bandwagon when you lived in Nebraska.
Very much so, and then I've kind of hung on to it, even
Oh,
though...
okay.
See, that's where you got to let it go, though. You're back here now. Okay, when you're doing your time, your penance, paying your dues in Scotts Bluff, Nebraska, where there's nothing else to do but root for Nebraska football and go shoot, prairie dogs, then you can root for Nebraska. You come back to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, you root for your alma mater.
I still root for him. Look, the
But he could
greatest
still have
moment of
the
my
gear.
life... The greatest moment of my life was when Independence Mall was filled for College Game Day a couple of years ago at Temple Notre Dame. That was unbelievable. That was like finally the culmination. Remember they used to put out, one of the adult magazines used to put out the top 25 worst college football teams.
Yes.
And I called the guy.
Right?
No, it ended in-house. But I called the guy up, and I got him on the phone. It turns out it was Paul Zimmerman, Dr. Z from Sports Illustrated. Ghostwriting. But I get this guy on the phone who's like a Hall of Fame writer and all this stuff. And I said to him, listen, why do you pick Temple as the worst team all the time? And he said, I took some classes there in undergrad. He says, I know how bad it is. So I thought, okay, that's the answer.
Well, I think he's no longer
No,
with us.
Dr.
he's
Z is
passed.
no longer.
Yeah.
He passed away.
Passed.
Rest in peace,
Absolutely,
Dr. Z.
rest in peace.
But here's a bigger
Well,
here's a bigger question.
Hit me.
Why is our show not even show up on the website when you go to on air?
It says shows/schedule, the Sports Bash, Rack and Fin, that's Tom P.
Right.
South Jersey Sports Report.
It's currently saying that right now?
Where's Mays and Eytan?
Listen,
not there.
I just called
First of all, you're reading off the Saturday schedule.
Yes, I just called up the homepage, and it says, listen now,
schedule.
the Mays and Eytan show. You can't miss it. Top right corner of the screen.
Yeah, I know. I see that.
On the Listen
now.
Live,
I'm saying about it's
He's
not,
talking about the on-air tab.
Right.
All right, hang on. On air. Oh, Sports Bash, Rack and Fin. Hey, I'm not in there either. What are you worried about?
Well, hey, you should be.
This is like, see, there you go. This is like, hey, we didn't play our starters. Pete Thompson didn't play his starters. What are you worried about? Nobody played their starters. But you see, we're both getting bit in the ass here.
All right.
There's why there's
I don't
concern.
see the corollary at all.
Come on. You know that was a good one.
We'll get the web people on that immediately.
Sure.
Our huge web department that we have here. There's a whole room of people back there.
Yeah. Call me back.
As the music's playing, I have a third question for you.
Call me back in 2020.
As Labor Day hits and it kind of signifies the end of summer here, what's the furthest thing you'll do this weekend away from the world of sports?
The furthest thing that I'll do this weekend away from the world of sports, I'll probably...
Or the furthest thing away from sports that you'll do this weekend. That's probably the better way to phrase it.
Yeah, because I am hosting on Monday for Gil, because he's
so
off,
like
so that
you won't,
doesn't count.
watching college football or going fishing. That's still a sport.
I would say
that's
because we're getting back into school mode, the lady and I have to make our trip to Walmart, and we like to go up to Tuckerton. We like to go to one a little bit outside the normal radius here. It's a little quieter up there.
Is that right? So you de-celebritize when you go to the Tuckerton Walmart? Because you're known.
Pete,
wait a second. You're known from Red Bank to Cape May Courthouse. What's going on here? You can't de-celebritize.
I'm doing pretty good at that Tuckerton one until I just said it, baby. Hey, it's Pete Thompson.
I've never been in a Walmart.
Ever?
Oh my God. You're missing out.
Yeah,
no, I'm
it's unbelievable people watching.
I can't tell you, when I was in college, Walmart Sunday at 5 a.m. on mushrooms is a world you want to be in. In Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, you want to be there. You want to be here.
Scottsbluff had a Walmart, thank God.
I'm sure they did.
PT, I'll speak for Harry. You could probably hang out till 1 o'clock if you want.